Hi, and welcome to Hair Fix Friday. I'm your hair restoration expert, Dr. John Frank. Spring is finally here. I'm so glad about that. Baseball and everything that goes along. Put the winter clothes away, and so I've had the chance to go to a couple baseball games already. And you see these big marquee players. I remember when I was just a child growing up in Pittsburgh, and how I was wide-eyed looking at great players like Roberto Clemente, and I still watch these players today, like Aaron Judge and Mike Trout and the other great players. It kind of reminds me of what we're doing in hair transplant. How so? When people come to me, you can feel very vulnerable with hair loss, and it takes some courage to either send pictures to me or share with me your story about hair loss. And then I have to decide whether I think a hair transplant or not is going to be the best solution. And we don't transplant everybody. We're very selective, only because I have to determine if you're going to have great results. I dare you to find another clinic which turns away as many people as we do. And it's not for personality or any other reason other than it's you're entering into a time machine. Yes, we all want to look younger, but you also want to benefit from a hair transplant. And it's my job to look deeply into this time machine and try and determine what you're going to look like down the line with a transplant, a year from now, 5 years, 10 years, however long. And that takes a lot of acumen and experience. And I take that responsibility very, very seriously. If you're not going to be a good transplant, then we're going to want to work with you to determine anything you can do, or maybe do nothing at all. So that's something that's very important. The other thing about hair transplant, as we talk about the things that may help you, is there's not a lot of other great things on the market. I could tell you minoxidil in my 23 plus years hasn't really worked for anybody. Maybe it's worked, but I've never seen it. And I write about that. I share that in my new book, 2-Minute Warning, which you can get at johnfrankmd.net. And I share that. And the other thing is that I talk about is that, not in the book, but I want to share now, I allude to it, is that hair transplant, hair restoration is like a double header. 2 games. If we think you're a good candidate, then you'll get the transplant, but that's just the first game. The second game of the doubleheader is allowing me the privilege to work with you and discover what's going to help you in the long term to preserve the hair that you have. I've had transplants. These are grafts here, but I also want to keep this and everything from shampoos, conditioners, the timing, balance is very important, and some of the medicines. There's a lot of snake oils out there on the market. I share that in the book. And some of the things actually do work, and it takes an expert to work on the dosages, the timing. My clinical staff and I have our hands on the pulse of everything in that industry, and that's really the second game of that hair transplant doubleheader. Thanks for allowing me the time to be with you today. Click the like button, please, and have a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday for Hair Fix Friday.